I think here at Cartersville High School, I think we see similar issues that other schools see, and that is just, a lot of is expected of our kids today. There's not enough time in the day. How do you do it all? At the same time, you're being bombarded with job and peer pressure and social media and things of that nature. How do you balance your time? How do you make sure you're making the right decision each and every day? And that was an issue that we saw here. How do we get our kids to prioritize? How do we get kids to take ownership of their lives? How can I build myself up to lead myself, in essence, and to lead others? My hope for graduates is for them to be prepared for the real world. I need kids who are going to college, ready for college. I need kids who are going into the workforce, ready for workforce, that are mature, that are ready to lead themselves and influence others in a positive way.
But such a focus on their age, what you look like, and clothes you wear, and things we preach we don't want to focus on, but it just happens. That's just the nature of our society. And for students to really have those conversations like, hey, these are not the most important things, and Habitudes allows you to have these conversations that you might not get to have normally.
My favorite Habitudes was the iceberg, which I think was the second one that we did, and I really enjoyed it because it talked about how like when you look at an iceberg, you only see around 10% of the iceberg, and 90% is below the surface, and how people are kind of similar to that.
I think emotional fuel would be like the most, because my mom just recently passed away, and when I finally came back to school, we had a Habitudes lesson, and those are my favorite, and so it just really helped me evaluate like who are my real friends and who were trying to help me like come to school, like, hey, you should come to school today. We haven't seen you in like 3 weeks. And so it just helped me reevaluate who I was, and I was like, hey, people really care about me. When you start high school, you don't really know who you are. And so dealing with Habitudes, it helps you, gives you like that clear vision of like, hey, I'm a leader. Like I have little siblings that look up to me, and you have to be a better person for them, because it's not always all about you.
The pictures grab our attention, and Mr. FEUERBACH, our principal, has the pictures in different places in the school. And I think it's good that, as they walk around, they can see a picture of something we did in August, and right away that clicks, versus me just saying, hey, remember what we did in August? And they're like, yeah, well, but do they really remember? But when they see the picture, they remember right away.
Habitudes has really helped us touch on things that sometimes maybe we take for granted. I think that over the years, multiple years, I think in public education, it's become very test focused. And I think teachers need to have the time to be able to talk about soft skills. And that's what Habitudes is doing. It's creating an avenue for us to take a step back and talk about things that we may not always talk about when we're talking about math curriculum or social studies curriculum. The hope is that over time, the conversations we're having in advisement begin to bleed themselves into our regular coursework as well, so that we're preparing kids to be well-rounded individuals ready for the world.
It's about growth and finding yourself. You start off at a point where you're like, hey, I don't really know this, I don't know anything, but then you learn about character, responsibility, and different relationships, not like boyfriend and girlfriend relationships, but like with adults, with other people the same age as you, and just people in general, and see things from like a different perspective that you weren't looking at before. And that's an awesome thing.